Live for episode 131 of the Wise Guys podcast. I am your host, Brandon Capozziello, and back with me today is Mr. Justin Ray. I rhymed, I'm a poet, didn't even know it. Bars, and I ain't talking candy. Homie, I got the bag, Justin. Damn
He's
it,
not a rapper.
I messed it up there. I can rap, but I'm not a rapper.
Mm.
Well, we are here to bring you another edition of the Wise Guys podcast. We are going to discuss, Justin, the two Hall of Fame coaches in the NFL, Mike Tomlin and Bill Belichick, are they on the hot seat?
Mm.
Can we finally admit Daniel Jones is not the guy? Can we finally do it, people? Do the Cincinnati Bengals need to shut Joe Burrow down? Baker Mayfield is doing something special in Tampa Bay. I'm going to give you my top 5 teams in the NFL currently before week 5. And finally, we're going to obviously get into our week 5 pick 'em. But before we get to all of that, please, if you are watching now or you're watching later, give us a like, thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Follow us on Twitter and TikTok and all that stuff. Links are in the description on our personals on the Wise Guys own account. And share the content with everybody. Let everybody know where we are. And finally, comment along with us. Tell us your opinions on the stuff that we talk about and the topics we discuss today. But Justin, how are you doing this fine Thursday morning, October 5th, 2023?
I am exhausted. I am coming off of a 12-hour shift, and for some reason now everybody's getting sick. I'm feeling a little stuffy this morning, but I'm here. I'm excited. It's been a while since you and I have been together. I miss you, B-Cap. I miss talking sports with you. And, I missed a lot of things. I missed the Damian Lillard news, some big things to talk about in football. So I'm just happy to be back, bro.
Yes, a lot did happen while you were gone, and we will possibly get into the Damian Lillard news for Justin's quick reaction to that. But first, we got to talk about it. Me and Justin texted a little bit back and forth, and we'll start with the New England Patriots side of things. Justin, is Bill Belichick on the hot seat?
Brandon, we've had this conversation for quite a long time where we talk about the roster construction of the New England Patriots and all the things that they should be doing that they aren't. Really, I guess, investing in the offense and really just never doing it. And we can talk about so many bonehead moves or acquisitions that we made on the offensive end when they were better out there. So we could talk draft. We could talk the haunting of the second round pick from Mohamed Sanu, or so much more that we can go into. Uh, but the reality of it is, honestly, I think so. I really do think so. And it pains me to say that all these years of success, but it's also a reluctancy to change and I guess adapt to this new NFL where you need that explosive wide receiver. You need that guy to create that separation. You need that speed threat. And Bill Belichick has this old style where, we got Demario Douglas out there, and he only played, I think, 18 snaps against the Dallas Cowboys, and he had the biggest play on offense. I think it was, I don't know if it was week 1 or week 2 where he fumbled, and we didn't see him for the rest of the game pretty much. The kid has potential, and we're not utilizing him. So that's just one example of what's going on this year. But then we look at the quarterback situation. We look at Mac. Things are going downhill there. I'll give Bill Belichick his flowers. Since the end of this Tom Brady era, our defense has consistently been solid. You could always count on that. But on the offensive end, everything has been horrendous, really, to say the least. We barely get to 20 points in a game. We're struggling to get to 17 sometimes. We find ourselves in third down holes consistently. We don't make plays on the first 2 downs, and we're always playing a long 3rd and 9, 3rd and 10 all the time. Our running game hasn't found any juice. Our passing game is inconsistent. And while Mac looked pretty good from week 1 and week 2, you see little things like in this Dallas game, it's just the boneheaded moves. So there's just so many questions going on in New England. And I really have to believe that I think Robert Kraft is going to come to a point where do we find that next version of Shanahan, that next version of McVay or Mike McDaniel, some guy that's going to make that, I guess, that push on the offensive end and adapt to that new NFL. But it pains me to say that. I think he is on the hot seat. I don't want him to go. I'll tell you that much. I just wish they would bring somebody in that could change the game. But bro, I'm at this point right now. We're 1-3. For the longest now, we haven't beaten good teams since pretty much Tom Brady left. I'd say, man, just blow this thing up, tank. What are we playing for?
Well, obviously that's not going to happen. You know that's not going to
No,
happen.
obviously,
Yeah,
but
Bill's
it's just
not
what are we playing for? What good is it us going
8 and
Georgia
9.
seven wins? You
Yeah,
know?
I mean, listen, we're what this is kind of to take part in also the Mike Tomlin discussion too, but this is the price you pay for having a great head coach. Like you want a great head coach, well, he's going to get the best out of not very good teams, and you're going to be a middle of the pack team most likely. But you can't sit here and say if you give that great coach a great quarterback that we're not going to be a legitimate team again.
Mhm.
That's the problem. That's the problem with the Steelers. That's the problem with the Patriots. That was the problem when John Harbaugh, obviously Flacco was never great except for that playoff run, but went from Flacco, didn't have really a quarterback, and then finally got Lamar. And then look at the Ravens started to come alive again. Now they're a real player once again. It all depends on the quarterback. You can have these great head coaches and they can get you pretty far and get you to a good record, right? But they're not going to elevate you without that quarterback to elevate everything on the field. And that's just where it comes down to. Listen, Mac has looked very good. He's looked much better, much improved, except for obviously last week. Last week to me was more.
That was the worst game I've seen him play in his
Yeah,
life.
Cole Strange was out, obviously. We still don't have our starting right tackle. Both guys are hopefully going to play this week, and we're playing that Dallas pass rush, which is arguably the best in the entire NFL. And
I'll be honest with you. The reason why that I don't even want to use that excuse is because Mac didn't even give us a chance to be in that game. We could. I'll give credit to Dallas, and Dallas's defense is legit, but those turnovers were not because the Dallas defense was so stifling. It was because Mac effed up, bro.
yeah, but again, that because he was trying to press and because he was trying to do too much. He got away with throwing across the field on one play, and then a couple plays later he tries it again because he's feeling himself a little bit, and that's Mac and Bill O'Brien spoke to it. That's Mac playing out of himself, and you don't usually see Mac do that because what has Mac has been praised about the entire way through. He was the most NFL ready quarterback. It was a lot of up here, and when you're not beating players and teams up here, and you're trying to use your physical traits, which are kind of a little bit middle of the pack, you're going to end up losing a lot of those games, and that is exactly what happened. But what I'm going to say is we did see improvements. We have seen improvements in this offense. It's looked more fluid. Listen, Bill O'Brien has had to come in here and he's had to clean up and rework everything that was done to Mac Jones in this offense all last year. Like if you don't think Matt Patricia and Joe Judge made Mac Jones's progression and development take like 2-3 steps back, then you're out of your mind. That's what Bill O'Brien is having to deal with. He's gotten to deal with damaged goods right now and is trying to make this kid's confidence back up again and rebuild it and rework everything that he was taught last year, which was completely wrong. So it's going to obviously take time. What I'm going to say about Bill is the GOAT. Bill is still the best football coach in the league right now. I don't care what anybody says. He is. And people always want to point to, well, look at what Brady did, right, in Tampa Bay, and look at what Bill has done in New England. Well, again, that's not a fair comparison because Brady went to a stacked team, right, and Belichick had no quarterback. He had to go with an old Cam Newton and then a rookie quarterback, which we made the playoffs, by the way. Doesn't matter we got blown out against the Bills, all right? It's the fact that we made the playoffs with a rookie quarterback. We were not supposed to be in that situation. So being even in the playoffs was a saving grace for us that season. He hadn't had the same raw. His defense has been able to play outstanding football, top 10 football, but the offense has always has been a question mark these last couple of years because Even in Brady's last season, Justin, there was no great wide receivers. There was no breakaway wide receivers. The offensive line was kind of coming down a little bit. The running game was stagnant. Like the same problems were the same problems, and now we have reworked it. Hunter Henry is looking outstanding right now. Gesicki is starting to find his own. He's looking much better than Jonnu Smith did in New England. Well, I know he's balling out in Atlanta right now, but that's Ramondre Stevenson and Ezekiel Elliott. Ramondre is the biggest surprise to me. He has looked like a completely different running back than last year, and I don't know what's going on there. Maybe it's a sophomore slump. I don't know, but he's got to figure it out. Maybe it's the O-line injuries. I don't know, but it's got to be figured out and reworked. Kendrick Bourne has looked outstanding. He's actually being used a lot more. The number one receiver, I think he's got the most targets in the New England Patriots right now. Was Juju a bad signing? Yeah, you should have just kept Jacoby Myers, but you make mistake there. You took a leap because of Juju's got that name value. But we're Tyquan Thornton is injured. He's hopefully going to be coming back. We saw some sparks from him last season. Marcus Jones was a spark plug on both sides of the football. He's out for the season. Christian Gonzalez, our first round cornerback, who looked incredible. He's out for the season now. We've brought in J.C. Jackson, who looked terrible in Los Angeles. What a gangster move by Bill, by the way, Justin. You lose a guy in free agency, right? And the Chargers pay him this big money. And then he looks absolutely terrible there, whether that due to injury, scheme, whatever the case may be, arrest warrants, and whatever the hell. He looked terrible there. And now we trade him back for late round swaps. And they're still paying majority of the contract. They're still paying majority of the contract. That I guarantee J.C. Jackson is going to be back to what J.C. Jackson was in New England. Because I truly do believe that, no offense to J.C., he was more of a scheme over actual player. You know what I mean? You take him out of that New England scheme, he's not going to be what he was in New England.
We've seen that a lot. All these New England.
We've seen that a lot in New England. 100%. We've seen that a lot. But what I'm going to say finally is he made the mistakes of hiring Matt Patricia and Joe Judge. He addressed those mistakes. He fired Matt Patricia. He moved Joe Judge to assistant head coach. He's really overseeing the special teams and stuff where he rightfully belongs. And he brought in Bill O'Brien. Just give this team some time. Give this team some time. The cornerback room, like I just said, we were missing all four of our starting cornerbacks. And we held that Dolphins offense to 24 points. 24 points with three of our starting cornerbacks out for that game. Gonzalez was in that game. The running back room has not looked good. The O-line is getting healthier. Give it some time. I'm telling you right now, Justin, I see some wins we can straddle off here. Spoiler alert, I think the Patriots are beating the Saints. I think the Patriots are beating the Raiders. They're going to lose to the Bills, sure. I think that I've always said we're going to split with the Dolphins, so I think that we get them back in that game. Commanders, winnable game. Colts, winnable game. Giants, winnable game. Chargers, they're an abomination. That's a winnable game. Steelers, we fucking own the Steelers. The Chiefs were going to lose. Broncos, winnable game. Bills, Jets. Justin, we were 1-3, I think it was either last year or 2 years ago, and we strung off 6 straight wins or something.
But so you see all the teams that you just went down? You listed all the middle of the pack to bad teams.
So your argument is we're not beating good teams, right?
We're not beating good teams. Yes, and that's the thing. We've been on this already for years.
But that's what I see. But that's what I'm saying, Justin. I understand your fandom is coming over and you're getting heated about the fandom. You gotta look at this objectively and look at the whole picture. Year one without Brady, we signed a Cam Newton when we should have tanked that year. I'm being proven more right that was the year to tank. Start Jared Stidham. We probably would have won 4 or 5 games max and probably been in the sweepstakes. And that wasn't a tank. It was more our quarterback is just so shitty that he's just going to throw us into trouble, right? We could have tried to get a Trevor Lawrence that year. We didn't. He signed Cam towards the end of the training camp. We went with Cam. We went 7-9, I believe it was. Okay? Year 2, without Brady. We draft Mac Jones. We make the playoffs. I think it was 10-7, I believe. Get blown out by the Bills in the playoffs. Okay, that's fine. They're a much better team than us. And I actually did see a TikTok recently of Julian Edelman. It's a couple months old, of him saying it's kind of embarrassing that, we used to be the big brother to the Bills and we were beating their asses. Now we're the little brother to the Bills, but it's even more embarrassing now because the fucking Bills can't beat any of the other top dogs in the AFC. So our big brother can't even beat up the other guys. But when we were the big brother, we were beating people up and we were going to the Super Bowl. I thought that was a little funny. It's a little dig at the Bills right there. But we make the
Hey,
playoffs.
Bills did it last week.
Yeah, we make the playoffs in year 2, year 1 with Mac. Year 3, malpractice by Belichick. Brings in Joe Judge and Matt Patricia as offensive coordinators, completely destroys the development and the progression of Mac Jones and that offense, right? Everybody agrees on that. They did that kid a disservice to his career. Now we're in year 4 without Brady, year 3 with Mac. You can't tell me he hasn't taken the necessary steps to try and rework and fix that. You have to give it some time, Justin. You have to.
Listen, Brandon, I hear everything you're saying, and I know you're saying that it's my fandom talking, but I'll be honest with you, it's not. Because at some point, I need to see the extra step from the team. I can't be as patient anymore because now this is year 3 with Mac. I need to see more out of him. And you can say, oh, we've seen improvements. Yes. Week 1, massive improvement against Philadelphia. Week 2 against Miami, it wasn't that great. So I'm not going to give him too much credit. He threw 42 passes for 231 yards. You know, that it's not fantastic, and he threw an interception in the red zone, throwing deep. We could have won that game. That was a one-score game. The game against the Jets have a great defense, and they showed it. Mac just didn't turn the ball over. That's what it came down to. He didn't turn it over. And I think nor did Zach Wilson, but still, defense just played better there. Mac Jones got a big play to Farrell Brown.
Yeah.
Big touchdown. But he didn't play great against the Jets. And then the Dallas game, worst football game I've seen him play in his life. And I just need to see this team get to a point where they can beat these other teams.
Yeah.
Like you mentioned Buffalo. Buffalo has blown us out. I feel like almost every time that we played them lately, besides that one game, Mac threw like how many passes? Like
four passes.
4 passes?
Yeah.
Outside of that, they ran the show.
Yeah, Josh Allen has been a kryptonite for us, yeah.
Yeah, he has been. So outside of that, that's probably the only big game in the post-Tom Brady era that I've seen the New England Patriots win. So I'm sitting here and I'm talking against a good team.
Yeah, so I hear you.
So against a good team. So going forward, if we're going to take our time and see what happens with Mac, you got to beat one of these good teams.
Yeah.
You have to beat a Buffalo once. You have to beat Miami once. Yeah. You have to maybe steal one from the Chiefs. Like, dude, Zach Wilson just took the Jets to the brink against Kansas City.
Yeah.
And probably without a bogus call at the end of the game, they might win that game.
Well, listen, I hear you. You know my feelings on Mac when he was drafted. We talked about it 3 years ago, right? I'm not a fan of the Mac Jones draft pick. Mac Jones is the guy, we've talked about this before, and we can wrap it up here. His peak is probably a Kirk Cousins, right? But he can easily just be a game manager, Jimmy Garoppolo style of quarterback, right? It's just going to take some time. The only reason I say is give it some time is we've played some great defenses, like the Eagles, really a great defense, the Jets, great defense, the Cowboys, great defense, the Dolphins have an atrocious defense. That was just bad. 2 bad turnovers, one by Pop. Love the nickname, by the way, early on in the game. And then obviously the boneheaded decision by Mac just to throw that deep bomb. That was a terrible decision by him. But I think give it some time. This week, I think there's also a chance that Mac probably does struggle again because the Saints, again, they have a fucking really good defense, all right? But the Raiders, I think that he might have a very good game against the Raiders, right? We're going to try and rewrite some wrongs of last year, of the debacle last year, and wipe that bad taste out of our mouths and memories. So I think give it some time. I think, again, not having D-Hop is a big miss. I think next year is really where you start to see maybe, again, some more progressions where next year, I think hopefully we either draft a receiver or trade or go get a true, like, bona fide side. And I know we've been saying that until the cows come home, but I'm just, you got to hope there.
Holding my breath on that.
Yeah. And finally on Mike Tomlin, I just want to quickly say this. Again, it's the price you pay for having a great head coach. And I'm seeing people, call out Mike Tomlin and say, Mike Tomlin, might have to go. He's kind of, archaic. He's old. But is it his fault for Matt Canada staying, Justin? Yes, 100%. He is made the loyalty there is really biting him in the ass. But let's also be honest with the Patriots. If the Steelers had a great quarterback, they would be just a great team. Okay, it usually does come down to great quarterback. And is Matt Canada hurting the development and the progression of Kenny Pickett? Sure. But I'm not 100% sold on Kenny Pickett, just like I'm not 100% sold on Mac Jones. So, like, again,
Yeah,
you have
Kenny
to.
Pickett hasn't looked good.
Yeah, he has not.
Yep.
And you have to kind of look at it. Not everybody can be great. Not everybody can be great. We got to stop pushing these guys that these guys can be great. We can see their ceilings of Mac Jones and Kenny Pickett where it can easily be like a Kirk Cousins, right? Something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But they can easily be, a bust. A bust. Because more often than not, Justin, a player is going to be a bust, especially in the first round. Because you're just not going to hit. The odds are not in your favor, right? May the odds be ever in your favor, Justin. Hunger Games, right? So all I want to do is wrap up on that is that Mike Tomlin will decide when Mike Tomlin wants to leave. And it's because the Pittsburgh Steelers are a first-class organization. There's a reason they've only had 3 head coaches in their entire franchise's history. They do shit the right way. So Mike Tomlin's going nowhere. I said this a couple weeks ago with these fickle-ass freaking Steelers fans. Please shut up. Just relax. Relax. And Justin, you too with Bill Belichick. Relax.
Well, no. Listen, I think both of them have earned the right to, I guess leave on their own terms or leave when they say so. In the Steelers' case, I pumped the brakes a little bit on the Mike Tomlin thing. I don't know if Kenny Pickett seems to be the guy because he's made some horrible reads in some of the games that I've seen. I mean, they just came off of 2 wins before losing, getting embarrassed in Houston. So
that was bad.
Yeah, no,
that was everything, though. That was the whole team. I blame that on the whole team. Like, you can't – a Mike Tomlin-led team going up against Houston, I know who's looked good, and C.J. Stroud's looked good, but he's a rookie quarterback, rookie head coach. You have to – as a Pittsburgh Steelers with Minka Fitzpatrick, T.J. Watt, Highsmith, you got to be able to beat that team.
And I expected the defense to wreak havoc against that.
I thought so, too.
No, but – they didn't. 30-6 was the scoring. But I mean, they got a big divisional win against the Browns.
Yep.
They beat the Raiders on I think it was like a Monday night or Sunday night football. Mm-hmm. Now they have a big test. They got the Ravens this week, and
the Rams the week after.
The Rams the week after, and then the Jaguars. So I could still see them. It's possible that they can squeeze out 2 wins because the Jaguars haven't looked anything as special, nowhere near as good as we expected.
And I had them literally in the Super Bowl. I had them in the Super Bowl this year.
And listen, I'm holding out jury on them. I think that they'll probably step up. I have all confidence in Trevor Lawrence.
I think it's
the Steelers,
I think I might have pushed them a little year too soon thing because I think Calvin. First off, I forgot Calvin Ridley's been off for 2 years in football. Mm-hmm. Okay, because I forgot that he took that year off due to the mental health and stuff, and then he got suspended. So I forgot it was 2 years off. So I think it's like, they're just a little bit working. And I do actually expect Calvin Ridley to have a big week this week, but we'll get to that in the pick'em. But yeah, Pittsburgh Steelers fans, New England Patriots fans, like Aaron Rodgers said, RELAX, relax. Pump the
when the expectation in those towns is winning.
100%. But this is the price you pay for having a great head coach. You want to lose those guys and end up being the Detroit Lions before they've got Dan Campbell. Be stuck with Jim Schwartz, Matt Patricia. You want to be stuck with Bill O'Brien as your head coach, Justin? Because that's probably what could happen.
I doubt that.
Okay. Next up, Justin, this is for you, and we'll quickly go on it, right? Daniel Jones. Yoish to them is what they say. Justin, can you finally admit Daniel Jones is not the guy?
He's been horrible, bro. He has been horrible. I mean, but even more so than him being horrible, the whole team has been horrible. Yeah, so it's tough because I'd watch some of these games and I'm just, he holds onto the ball too long. He locks in on reads for far too long. He doesn't look to push the ball downfield. It's left and right the whole time. That Seahawks game, I actually thought they had a chance to come back for a little bit.
There was a chance, Justin.
Yeah.
When he threw that pick six, they were down 14-3, at the 8-yard line, ready to go in for a score, and they can cut it to a 1-score game. They're probably going to go for 2 to try to cut it to 11-14. But that's right there. You can't make that mistake, and that's what I'm talking about with Daniel Jones. And
that was sucking the life out of it, out of that offense.
Yeah, because everybody's freaking staying up late on freaking a Monday night, right? And we're like, oh, the Giants are gonna. It's the end of the third quarter. They have 2 minutes left in the third. We got the whole fourth quarter. They score here. Okay, we've got a game, and then it's like, oh,
yep.
And that is the game right there. Yep. And that's all, folks.
Listen. Then again, okay. So much like the Patriots, he's been dealt a bad hand in at least 2 of the games where he had to go up against San Francisco and Dallas. That's fine. So I gave him the pass in the Dallas game because they just had 0 protection. In San Francisco, he didn't look nearly as bad as he did against Dallas, at least in that first half. It looked like it could be something somewhat competitive. It didn't end up being that. The defense was too stifling. They had no explosiveness. They refused to use Jalen Hyatt, and it's just that's the tough part. Against Arizona, if they would have lost that game and they never had that comeback, we'd be. I mean, still they're 1-3, but they should be 0-4 this team.
Yeah.
And Daniel Jones, I think it was Shannon Sharp that said he calls him Danny Crimes because he's stealing money from the Giants right now. I've been a Daniel Jones guy, a believer in his dual threat ability where he can run and he can throw, but it comes down to like that Zach Wilson thing where it's all in the head, man. It's all in the head. If you can't come down and be a smart quarterback and make the smart reads and the smart decisions, then, dude, your time in the NFL is going to be cut short pretty soon. And it's a real shame because there is a ton of potential there too. It's not like he's supposed to be ass. He actually has the capabilities to actually be a solid quarterback in the NFL. But it also comes back to weapons, protection. But for him, it's decision-making because even though you got these receivers, you can still make the right decisions.
Yeah. I think at the end of the day, Justin, we got – and listen, I understand, the injuries and the breadth of weapons, right? But at the end of the day, we got to stop blaming everything else and look at Daniel Jones because I was told by multiple people, you included, the Giants got better this offseason. Like they made improvements. And that's why people expected, like you, them to be 10-7 and make the playoffs and make a little bit more of a jump this year.
Mm-hmm.
And I emphatically said, I don't know what you guys are looking at because I don't see that they got better. Okay, you added Darren Waller. Like I said, they don't know how to use Darren Waller. That has more to do with Brian Daboll. I don't know what's going on. You don't know how to use Darren Waller. He's healthy. This guy we've seen can be a top 3, top 4 tight end in the league.
Mm-hmm.
And you're just, I don't know what's going on. Listen, I'm going to say this. He's a good, tough dude, Daniel Jones is, right? I don't think anybody's taking that away. He's going to give you everything he's got. He's going to fight. But he is who we knew him to be for the first 3 years of his career, Justin. For the first 3 years of his career, we knew and everybody knew him to be. He's not that guy. He's a bust. He's gonna end up being a backup quarterback. It's just a matter of time. Brian Daboll came in and Brian Daboll saved his career.
He definitely did.
100% did. Came in and revitalized this guy. And also Daniel Jones was playing on a contract year. We forget about that. So he was playing a little bit more out of his mind and more focused and driven to want to get that contract extension. Everything's perfect. You can't get paid $92 million guaranteed. And at the time, when he signed that contract, it made him a top 10 paid quarterback. $92 million guaranteed. You can't do that coming off your best year and shit the bed consistently this year. That can't happen. That's a no-go.
But the thing is also, Brandon, he's getting absolutely. Is he the most sacked quarterback in the NFL so far this year?
He probably could be. I mean, obviously after that Seahawks game, probably got sacked 11
10 sacks. Sacked 10
But
times.
but Justin, we just talked about they had a chance to cut it to a one-score game
And
even
he
with
made a
that, and
horrible
he made the
decision.
mistake.
Yes,
He threw it
absolutely.
straight to the defender.
That was a bad read. I know completely. I'm not trying to excuse
That
anything.
can't.
I'm
I
just saying
understand. Again, I understand the hell. But again, let me get to this point.
7
Listen,
sacks in week 1,
we have
10 sacks in
freaking
week
seen
4.
now over his career, 5-year career, with Saquon and without. And let me give you the numbers. With Saquon Barkley, this is Daniel Jones. A 90 passer rating, 7,939 passing yards, 44 touchdowns, 19 interceptions in 36 games. Right? That's pretty good. Without Saquon Barkley, this is Daniel Jones. A 76.2 passer rating, 4,108 yards, 16 touchdowns to 20 interceptions. 20 interceptions in 21 games.
Mm-hmm.
That's Daniel Jones without. You paid the wrong freaking guy, Giants. The money you gave to Daniel Jones should have went to Saquon Barkley because he was the real deal. See, now
Saquon's
you're
not on the
locked
field.
into Daniel Jones for another year, right? I think they have an out in 2 years. You're locked in for now. You owe him 92 guaranteed off the bat. That's what you owe him. You're done. You messed up. Why? You know why Brian Daboll was so pissed throwing that tablet on the floor? Because this guy vouched for Daniel Jones.
Mm-hmm.
This guy said to the front office, yeah, he deserves his money. He's earned his money. I can make him a better guy. Guess what? He got paid. Justin, they're playing him like a top 10 paid quarterback, and he's not handling the pressure. He can't. We have seen, I was told that Daniel Jones at his best could be a top 10 quarterback. I was told this.
I know I didn't say that.
Okay. But I was told this. People believe this guy could be a pretty damn good quarterback. People said he could be right outside top 10. I think you were saying he could be right outside top 10.
Let's say he could be a top 15 quarterback.
Okay. If you can do that, you should be able to overcome certain things. And I know the offensive line is terrible. We've seen players overcome these things.
Yeah.
And if you're going to get paid that way, you have to be able to do that.
10 sacks is a little much, Brandon.
That's okay. That's fine, but still, like I saw you come back from a 20 to 0 deficit.
He did.
So I just against a shitty team. So I've seen you do that, but you can't do this. Again, I'm going to say it. Last thing. That Vikings game was arguably the worst thing to happen to the New York Giants and Daniel Jones because he played his best game of his entire career. He balled out of his mind, and that is what got him paid. And that is what is going to strap the New York Giants with Daniel Jones for the next 2 years. And that is your quarterback. And now you're going to be stuck you're not even really a mid team. Like the Patriots and Steelers are better than the Giants. I think clearly are.
Mm-hmm.
The Giants are like a step below that mid team. Like they're not the worst team in the NFL, but they're a right below mid team.
If they continue this, they'll be close.
Yeah. But yeah, that wraps up the Daniel Jones. And I do believe they are the worst team in the NFC East, by the way. The New York Giants are the worst team in the NFC East. I mean, the Washington Commanders, Sam Howell's playing much better football than Daniel Jones.
I don't think the Giants take the Eagles to the brink like that.
No. Next up. This will be a quick one, Justin. The next 2 will be pretty quick because I think everybody can kind of agree on this one. I'll take this one first, Justin. Joe Burrow, the Cincinnati Bengals. Do the Cincinnati Bengals need to shut Joe Burrow down? The answer is 100% yes. Yes. Justin, he doesn't look the same. He doesn't look like the same quarterback. He doesn't look like the same guy. And I know there was a report that not even a report. He actually said this. I feel much better than I have the past 4 weeks or whatever. Yeah, I'm not buying it, man. Because what you're putting out on the field is you can't throw the ball down the field. I can go over the numbers. I won't bore you, but it's just consistently the passing yards down the field, how many yards per attempt. It's just all down. It's all below league average. It's really, really down. The reason I say this, Justin, too, is you need to protect the player from themselves sometimes, right? Like You can ask almost any professional athlete in any sport. They're always going to want to play. They're always going to want to fight if you want to talk about fighting or whatever the case may be. Zach Taylor needs to save him from himself, save Joe Burrow from himself. He needs to step in and say, Joe, I don't want you to end up like another Andrew Luck. Don't want that to happen. Okay? You've already torn your ACL. I think he's had 2 knee surgeries, if I'm not mistaken, one in college and then one his rookie season. And now you got a calf injury. And I've said this, and people will continue to say this too because it's the truth. With the calf injury, you have to be so freaking careful because when your calf is injured, it weakens your Achilles. That is what happened to Aaron Rodgers. I know Joe Burrow is in his 20s and Rodgers 38, but still, a weakened calf is a weakened calf. And I just don't want him to suffer a worse injury and severely compromise his career because that is what could happen. Shut him down. Give him 2 weeks, right? They have a bye in 2 weeks, Justin, after the Seahawks game. Rest him this week, rest him next week, rest him for the bye, and then have him ready to go, giving him 3 weeks off. Because I just don't think that the season is salvageable. You're 1-3. You already have 2 divisional losses. And on top of Joe Burrow being injured, Justin, they can't fucking protect him again. They can't protect this guy again. Justin, I'm just going to quickly read this off to you, and then I'll let you go. I'm going to give you these stats because I did a little digging on the offensive line of the Bengals, and then I did a little bit more digging because something popped in my head. I was like, the Bengals offensive line has sucked, right, since Joe Burrow's been around. I'm like, who the fuck is their offensive line coach? So I looked him up, and I did a little digging on him. So bear with me here, right? The offensive line for the Cincinnati Bengals right now, pass blocking is rated 27th in the NFL, according to Pro Football Focus. This is all according to Pro Football Focus. 18th in run blocking. Justin, last year, their pass blocking was 31st in the NFL, 21st in run blocking. In the Super Bowl run, Justin, their pass blocking was 29th, and their run blocking was 20th. Now, I know you remember after the Super Bowl run, they spent a lot of money on that offensive line. I have the number. They spent $74 million on the offensive line after that Super Bowl run. I just gave you the numbers. They got worse in pass blocking. They went from 29th to 31st. They spent an additional 4 years, $64 million on Orlando Brown this offseason. They've improved 4 spots to 27th so far through 4 weeks. They can't protect him. And now I'm going to give you this guy, the offensive line coach for the Cincinnati Bengals. No idea who this guy was before looking him up. Mr. Frank Pollock. I think everybody needs to know this guy's name because this was outstanding when I went through this, Justin, because it just kept getting worse. I was like, what is this? How does this guy have a job? He's been the offensive line coach since 2021. I did some digging on him. Since 2015, his first season with Dallas as the offensive line coach. Dallas Cowboys. Remember that offensive line back then, and even now it's been elite ever since, right? In 2015, he had the number 1 ranked pass blocking offensive line. 2015. The years after that, he dropped to 14th, 20th, and 24th. 24th was when Cincinnati, when he went to, in Dallas, he went from number 1 to 14 to 20th with the Dallas offensive line. Then he went to Cincinnati for 1 year in 2018, had the 24th ranked offensive line, left, went to the New York Jets for 2 years in the Jets, 28th and 31st. This guy's fucking terrible. He needs to go. Maybe it's not the talent because they've hired so many Ted Caceres from the Patriots. We know he was solid as a center. He's nothing to, be incredible, but he's solid. Alex Kappa played on the offensive line for the Bucs in the Super Bowl run. Jonah Williams, really good first round pick. Orlando Brown, solid offensive tackle. Lyle Collins, solid offensive lineman. They've got players. Maybe it's not the talent. Maybe this guy just can't fucking coach. Frank Pollock needs to go. So I wrap that all up with Justin, and I'll wrap it up with Mr. Zach Taylor. Zach Taylor, don't think we forgot about you. Joe Burrow saved your ass. The only reason you still have a job is because of Joe Shiesty. Save Joe Burrow from himself, put him on the bench, rest him for the next 3 weeks, and save your own fucking ass. Because you'll be the first one to go if this ship goes sideways. I give it to you, Justin.
So that was hilarious, bro. I'll give you that. That absolutely made me laugh. But I had no idea. Those are staggering stats by the offensive line coach.
How does this guy have a job, Justin?
I don't know how he's still in. I don't know how he found himself on a top threat in the AFC, but he's definitely changing their narrative right now. But to touch on what you said about Joe Burrow sitting, I don't see it. I can't see them sitting him, and I wouldn't. And I understand why you say, oh, the protection. Yeah, he's being rushed probably faster than any quarterback in the NFL right now. Close, I mean, with Daniel Jones too. But his schedule, bro, he has the Arizona Cardinals next, which is no slouch to sleep on because they've been playing tough football. You got Seattle after that, and then you got San Francisco. So I look at these 2 games against Arizona and I look at Seattle as winnable games. This team is too talented for me to just say, you got to write them off. I feel like they're way too talented for me to do that. And at any moment, Joe Burrow can get hot, Jamar Chase can get hot, and company can get hot. And then the offense goes steamrolling through a bunch of people. Now, we haven't seen any life out of this offense pretty much at all. I mean, the most points they scored, I think, was week 2 against the Ravens in a loss. But outside of that, it's just, I think you will start seeing some semblance of life. I think it's just Joe Burrow getting healthy. And I know what you said, give him his rest, let him take his time. By that time, you're playing for nothing if you do that.
My whole point is why to rest him now and why I would have rested him starting it last week because I'm forgetting who the hell they played last week. Who they played? The Titans, right? Mm-hmm. They got blown out. Justin, there's a reason you have a backup quarterback. If your starting quarterback is compromised, he should be able to come in there and salvage a couple of games here and there.
Well, the reality of it is, I think you're in too deep now.
If you're no, I don't think you are because listen, if you believe that, again, this goes back to the backup quarterback. Have a better backup quarterback, and you can believe and be like, all right, Joe Burrow, take a rest. You say these are winnable games. I think these are winnable games with their backup quarterback. They have the talent on the offensive end. Feed Joe Mixon 30 times, and then just make it real easy on the young quarterback who I'm forgetting who the hell that Jake Browning, I think his name is. Just make it easy on him. Like you can play. There are ways to work around having a backup quarterback in there and playing smart football.
I completely understand, but at this point, you lose 2 games here. You lose these next 2 games, you're already out of the mix.
But lose these 2 games, and Joe Burrow gets even more hurt. You might be out for the next 2 years.
No, see, that's the thing. I get what you mean. The mistake was starting in week 1. You didn't need to start him right away.
That's okay. I agree with you. But now we're in
week 1. But now you're in this deep. He's the competitor. He's gonna go out there.
Justin, if you were the coach, if you were Zach Taylor, you're telling me you would continue to play Joe Burrow?
Yes.
Yeah.
Call me crazy.
I think you'd lose your job. I think if you're Zach Taylor, you have to look at it and say, dude, if he tears his Achilles and he goes down this year, and he's probably going to miss the majority of next year, if not the entire year, I'm going to be shit team the next 2 years. That is not good on my resume. I know my ass will be out before Joe Burrow's gone.
Unless there's something telling me, all right, he's at risk of this, he's at risk of that, it's better to shut him down so he could go through surgery, something like that, then you do it. But if surgery isn't required.
No surgery is required. You just need rest. He needs to rest himself.
That's my point. If surgery is not required, everybody's playing hurt.
Okay.
Everybody is. So you're a top tier AFC team. Going into the season, you're a Super Bowl contender. You're a threat. You get off to this horrendous start. You're 1-3. That is still salvageable. Mm-hmm. That is still salvageable. They may not be If the Ravens go on a run, they may be completely out of the division,
Yeah.
but they're not out of the wild card. And they almost beat the Ravens at
Yeah,
that.
but they already
So
have 2 divisional losses.
I completely understand that. But again, I don't think the Browns are going to be anything to sleaze at. No, well, they are something to sleaze at. I don't think they'll be in the running at the end of this. So you can compete. You have to win the games that are in front of you. Arizona and Seattle are in front of you. Those are winnable games. We'll be talking about Cincinnati in a completely different narrative if they steal those two, going up against San Francisco and a big game against Buffalo on Sunday night.
Justin.
Those, if we see life from that offense, I'm not taking them seriously against San Francisco because I think San Francisco is just running over
And
everybody.
again, I'm afraid for that because San Francisco is going to come at this guy.
Of course they are.
And
Of
that's
course
just,
they are.
again, like I'd rather him going in with 3 weeks of rest going into that game than him playing 2 weeks of tough ass football.
Yeah, but at that point, you go 3 weeks of rest. You don't play them against the Cardinals. You don't play them against the Seahawks. Then you said the bye week, right? Bye week, and then San Francisco. What are you playing for at that point?
Well, I'm hoping that my backup quarterback can at least go 1-1.
That's such a big hope.
You should be able to beat the Cardinals with their backup quarterback.
Wins. Yeah, but you know what? I can't even say that. The Cardinals are playing tough football.
Listen, I'm sorry. You're the Bengals. I know Joe Burrow is that dude, but you should be able to beat the goddamn. I'm not saying you can beat the 49ers. I'm saying you can beat the Cardinals. A close game, you can beat them 20-17 or something like that. That's all I'm saying.
Everything needs to go right because Cardinals defense have been playing tough football. You put in a backup quarterback to win. These are must-win games now.
Yeah. I hear you.
I want to go. I'm not
teetering
going my
point right
backup
now.
quarterback for a must-win game.
And listen, if they do lose the next 2 games, I think you bench Joe Burrow possibly for the whole season.
Then maybe so. Then you'll consider that.
Not bench him, rest him, obviously, not bench him.
Yeah, then you'll consider that, but I don't think so.
All right, Justin, let me give you my my top 5 teams in the NFL, and then we'll get to week 5 pick 'em.
All right.
Brandon's top 5 teams in the NFL before week 5. Justin has disappeared on me. Hello, how you doing? At number 5, Justin, I have the Detroit Lions.
Ooh.
They got a high octane running attack and passing attack. They have a top 5 O-line in the NFL. The defense is getting better. It's better than the Dolphins. They're getting Jamison Williams back. I'm high on the Detroit Lions, 3-1. I got the Detroit Lions as my number 5 team in the NFL, loving what DC is doing and loving that Jared Goff is playing inspired football. But just give the ball to Jahmyr Gibbs more, please. Just why do you do that?
Stop it for your fantasy team. It's not about your fantasy team now. It's about a city in Detroit that has been waiting to be in the playoffs.
Yeah, he's so good. Like he's just so good. He's
good. He's good because he's going to benefit your pockets if he kills it. That's why.
But he's also just really good too. The Kansas City Chiefs are number 4 on my team. All I have to say about the Kansas City Chiefs is they are still just the team to beat in the entire NFL. Even if they're not number 1, they're still the team to beat because they are the Kansas City Chiefs. They are the team that everybody looks towards and goes, okay, Andy Reid, Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes, Chris Jones. You got to go through that team. They're 3-1 right now. I know they struggle against the Jets, but they are the 4th team. They took a step back. I had them at 3. Now they're at 4. And at number 3, making another jump up, I have the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills shut the goddamn Miami Dolphins up. Thank you very much, Buffalo. I was rooting for you too, like venom out of my mouth. I even made a tweet about it. Go Bills, Bills Mafia. But they did what I needed them to do, which is to
You realize that is a sin coming out of your mouth.
I know it is. I said it was a sin, but
and then you go and say that.
Justin, the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Yeah,
and
no.
Fuck the Miami Dolphins, buddy.
But the Buffalo Bills are far from our friends.
I hate that the Miami Dolphins were having all that success, and I am happy that they got punched in the mouth and set back down to reality. Okay?
At least Miami doesn't kick our ass. Buffalo does.
That's fine. That's fine. Don't bring that up. That's fine. The defense has looked better. I'm praying for Tre'Davious White. It just sucks for this kid. He's still in his 20s. He's just coming off a torn ACL 2 years ago, and now he tears his Achilles. I feel so bad for him. He's such a talented, bright player. That is a massive loss for them. Josh Allen is playing on fire, Justin. I know he's bolted to a lot of people's MVP discussions. We're not going discuss that for a little bit because I don't like discussing MVPs this early in the season and just no point. Stephon Diggs is absolutely killing it. And Von Miller possibly making a comeback. So I have the Buffalo Bills at my 3 spot. Number 2, Justin, the Philadelphia Eagles, the reigning defending NFC champions. Listen, spoiler alert, they are the 1B to my number 1, the San Francisco 49ers. It kind of just is like that. These two teams are top to bottom the most complete teams in the entire NFL. I know that the Eagles haven't played perfect football. It's been a lot of ugly wins, but they've gotten the wins, and that's all that matters. A win is a win is a win, as they say. So the Eagles are my number 2 team, and obviously number 1 is the San Francisco 49ers. They are the best team in the NFL. Top to bottom, they are the most complete team in the NFL. There really is no holes. So that is my top 5. At number 5, the Detroit Lions. At number 4, the Kansas City Chiefs. At number 3, the Buffalo Bills. At number 2, the Philadelphia Eagles. And at number 1, the San Francisco 49ers, Justin.
Okay. I love that you got San Francisco up there, showing the respect. I don't think I had Buffalo in my top 5. I forgot what my top 5 was when I first did. No, I'm trying to think of when I did it 2 weeks ago.
What would you have Buffalo in now, though?
No, Buffalo would.
Well, what do you think of my top 5? Is there anything you would change?
So one thing, I still believe in the Baltimore Ravens. Baltimore Ravens are in my top 5. I think they're scary. Lamar Jackson had a big game last week. 2 touchdowns on the ground, 2 touchdowns in the air as well. I just think there'll be no stopping the Ravens. Their defense is legit, and they got a big game against the Steelers, so we'll see if they can translate that too. But Kansas City's obviously up there, but I have them just outside of my top 5 for the simple fact that I just haven't seen that offensive explosion that I've been waiting for. Outside of the
Kansas City, right?
Yeah, outside of the Bears game, which is a given.
Fucking Bears.
You have teams like Buffalo who've been taken to the test already, playing big games, playing against Miami at home, and Miami's going, they were pretty hot going into that. He runs over them completely.
So you would take the Kansas City Chiefs out of the top 5?
Yeah, I'd put Buffalo above them. I don't think I forgot my top 5 list because I'm using my phone.
No. So you would have the 49ers, you'd have the Eagles.
I'd have the 49ers, I'd have the Eagles,
the Bills,
I'd have the Ravens, I'd have the Bills, and I'd say for my top 5, Miami was absolutely.
But see, that's the thing is
destroyed.
That Kansas City's they're winning right now, and Dolphins just got their ass kicked. And I don't believe in the Dolphins defense. I don't really believe in the Kansas City Chiefs defense, but I do believe in Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, and Travis Kelce more than I believe in the Miami Dolphins offense. So that's why.
It's for me, honestly, it's really a toss-up. I can go Kansas City in that 5 spot. I guess I will go Kansas City for the simple fact that they got their win.
Yeah.
But I'm not ready to put Detroit in my top 5 yet.
That's fair. I think what sucks for Detroit is that they lost C.J. Gardner-Johnson, their big addition on defense, because their defense needs all the help that they can get. Okay, that is fair. So now let us move on to the final topic. Week 5, pick 'em, Justin. We like a team. Oh, you know what, Justin?
What was that?
I'm gonna.
We have sound effects now.
Oh, that was not the right one. My bad. That was terrible. Okay. Did you hear that, Justin, or no?
No.
You weren't hearing those?
I didn't hear anything.
That's interesting. I wonder if everybody else can hear the reaction sounds. It was just a woo! All right, week 5 pick 'em. Let's get it going. Let me pull up the
You would have fun with that.
Let me have the ESPN app up. Game number 1, obviously tonight, Thursday Night Football. We got the Chicago Bears headed to Washington to take on the Commanders. The Commanders are favored by -6 points. Justin, who you got?
So Justin Fields in Chicago looked a lot better on offense yesterday, but then again, that was against the Denver Broncos, whose expectations for them have dropped even a huge expectation drop for the Denver Broncos. So I'm gonna take that game from Chicago with a grain of salt, and I'm gonna take Washington, who took Eagles to the brink, took them to OT. I think they're at home. They'll go get a win.
Yeah, listen, the Commanders play tough. And I know that they've given up 33 and 34 points in 2 games this season, but that defense is a good unit. That offense can be very explosive. I expect them to win this game. Listen, unless, like you said, Justin Fields has another game like he did against the Broncos, which I highly doubt because the Denver Broncos defense just makes anybody look incredible. That's going to be interesting to see what you think about the Jets and if Zach Wilson strings together 2 great games in a row because he plays the Denver Broncos. But no, I think Fields comes back to reality, and I got the Washington Commanders winning in Washington. All right, next up in the morning, Justin, 9:30 a.m. London time, eh? The Bills are taking on the Jaguars in London.
This is back-to-back weeks out in London for the Jaguars.
Back-to-back weeks in London, mate.
You know, if I'm a Jaguars fan, I'm furious.
Well, it's like this, Justin. It's like this. It's kind of their home away from home now. You know what I mean?
No. Imagine you're from Jacksonville. You enjoy going to every game, but you can only get six home games because they're going to London for 2.
Justin, listen, the damn Jaguars are going to be the first ever England team anyway in like a couple of years, so they're going to expand it. It doesn't matter. Jacksonville's not a big sports town anyway. Who you got in this game, damn Justin? Who you got, eh?
I'm taking Buffalo. I think they continue their hot streak. Josh Allen's playing out of his mind, and I hope that Josh Allen reminds the world who he really is, and he's a freaking MVP candidate. He's a monster, and his Buffalo Bills are going to be a threat to compete for the Super Bowl.
He's
Buffalo,
a freaking MVP candidate is what he is, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah?
I'm not doing I'm too stuffy to do any accents.
You can't do any accent with me. You just got to do it right like that.
No, I don't have a British accent. I can't.
You're not sounding too Jamaican. You're going Jamaican, man.
I don't think that's a Jamaican accent.
No, yours. The Bills are riding high, Justin. They are. Like I said, possible Von Miller return, but Trey White is out. And that's where I say I think Calvin Ridley could have a big game because of Tre'Davious White is out. But I think that the Jags got back on track last week. And like I said, I know I was joking, but I'm serious. The London is a home away from home for Jacksonville. They play the most games in London. Shahid Khan owns one of the soccer teams. I forget what it is in England. So that's kind of like their home away from home. I think the Jacksonville Jaguars get the job done against the Buffalo Bills and win this game. Next up, Justin, our team, the Saints, are headed to New England to take on the Patriots. The Patriots are Patriots are favored by 1 point. What you got?
I'm going to take the Patriots. I don't say it with absolute confidence. I'm just saying these are 2 teams that have been horrible on the offensive side of the ball. Derek Carr has not looked great whatsoever. I think the Patriots defense, even without Judon, even without Christian Gonzalez, are going to make enough noise. Keon White will step up. I don't know if J.C. Jackson is actually going to play this week.
I think he is.
Regardless, I'm going to take New England. I think Mac Jones has a little bit of a better game, much like the one he had against the Jets.
Yeah, like you said, listen, I know the Patriots put out a putrid offensive display against the Dallas Cowboys, but like I said, I think Riley Reif is possible to play this week, being our starting right tackle. Cole Strange is hopefully going to be back as our starting left guard. The O-line should be better. The defense is still very good, even though we're missing a lot of our cornerbacks. JC, I think, is going to play. Hopefully, Jonathan Jones plays this game. Jack Jones, I think, is still a couple of weeks away from being back, which sucks because he's a ball hawk to the highest degree. The Saints are a tough team, though. They have high-end offensive talent. You know, Kamara, Olave, Michael Thomas, those boys. And they got a top 10 defense. But like you said, Derek Carr, he's playing with the sprained AC joint in his throwing shoulder. He looked terrible. Last week against the Bucs, he had a 30 QBR and only threw for 127 yards passing. It's in New England, and we know about teams like New Orleans. They usually don't play as well on the road, and your quarterback is compromised. Give me the New England Patriots to get back on track and get the win here. Next up, we got the Tennessee Titans headed to Indianapolis to take on the Colts. Titans are favored by 2. I'm going to take a quick Titans should win this game. I don't got much more to say on that.
So, you know what? I'm actually going the opposite route. I'm going A-Rich in Indianapolis. No, and you know what? So I had the Rams beating Indianapolis, but that comeback from them. This Anthony Richardson is making noise, and he's a talented quarterback. Tennessee has these. It seems like they give you one good week, they give you one dud. They give you another good week, they'll give you a dud. I'm counting on a dud, so I'm taking the Colts.
Yeah, you've been doing pretty bad in Pick'em too this week.
Yeah,
year.
I think so.
How you feeling? Huh? Not big talking, and in fantasy too. You're not big talking either, huh? What's going on? Nothing to
I'm
say. Huh?
currently ranked
You're real
8th.
quiet, like a church mouse, huh?
39 wins to 25 losses.
Yeah, not that good. All right. Yeah, I got the Titans. I think that they should win. I think Derrick Henry has a big game. Also for my fantasy football team, I hope he has a big game. Next up, we've got the Baltimore Ravens headed to Pittsburgh to take on the Steelers. Baltimore is favored by 4 points. This is going to be an interesting. Sorry, it is going to be interesting to see the Steelers, right? Because Mitch is going to be the starting quarterback. It's a divisional game. Honestly, the Ravens haven't impressed me very much, Justin. Losing to the Colts is just a little bit. It's not a little bit. That's embarrassing.
At home.
Yeah, at home. I expected more from the Ravens, to be honest with you. And this is surprising to me, Justin. You know, Lamar has only played the Steelers 3 times in his entire career.
Really?
Yeah. And he's 1-2 against the Steelers. So actually, I'm going to take the Steelers to win this game and get a kind of an upset. It's a divisional game, so I don't think that's crazy to say that the Steelers can win this game. I saw Mitchell Trubisky beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Tom Brady last year, converting 3 straight 3rd and 10s. So I think that he's more than capable of beating the Baltimore Ravens. So I'm going to take the Pittsburgh Steelers in Pittsburgh to win this game. What say you?
Give me more from Baltimore. I'm taking Baltimore to get a win here. I think Lamar does his job. I think it's going to be a tough game, as those Baltimore and Pittsburgh games usually go. So I think it'll be a tight one, but I think Baltimore edges it out.
I think it's going to be a close one, yeah. Next up, we've got the Texans headed to Atlanta to take on the Falcons. Justin, who you got?
I got to take Houston, man. I think they're rolling hot. I think I'm going to hop on this train. I feel like Atlanta does not know how to utilize their talent. I think Drake London and Kyle Pitts are supremely talented prospects, and they've just underutilized them now. Bijan Robinson is an absolute monster, but he is their offense. So you stop him, you put the ball in Desmond Ritter's hands, and he has to make the plays. I think Houston gets a win here in Atlanta.
I disagree with you, Justin. I think the because Atlanta is at home, and like I said, these teams tend to play better at home. Their defense is top notch. It's a very good unit, especially AJ Terrell. He is that dude at the cornerback position. You spoke on Bijan. Bijan is an absolute animal. Desmond Ritter is not the guy. We all know that. He has been atrocious. And I'm going to say this public service announcement. The Atlanta Falcons, go sign Cam Newton. Go sign Cam Newton. He fits this offense perfectly, much better than Desmond Ritter, and he's a better player than Desmond Ritter. And if you don't want to do that and you want somebody young, there's a guy up in Chicago who doesn't really want to be there anymore, and I don't think they want him as much either. Go ahead and trade for Justin Fields. Go trade. You don't think that he fits this offense perfectly well either? This team is a run-first team. They want to run the ball 30, 35 times a game. Go get Justin Fields and put it in there. That's all I'm saying. So go sign Cam Newton or go trade for Justin Fields, and let's see what the Atlanta Falcons really are about. But I have the Atlanta Falcons beating the Houston Texans because it's in Atlanta. They have a very good defense. I think they bounced back from last week's atrocious loss against the Jaguars. Next up, we've got the Carolina Panthers headed to Detroit to take on the Lions. The Lions are favored by minus 10 points. Jameson Williams, I believe, is back. Is there really? The Lions are riding high. It's going to continue. Give me the Detroit Lions.
Yeah, I'm taking Detroit. Although some positive news coming out of Carolina, I'd like to hear that they're going to go out there and get Bryce Young a number 1 receiver, even though they had one in DJ Moore. But but they have gone out publicly and said they're out there looking for a true number 1 receiver. Nice to see teams investing in their quarterbacks. Bill Belichick, you should probably do something about that. But yeah, I'm going to take Detroit.
Yeah, the Lions are going to win that game. Next up, we've got the New York Football Giants headed to Miami to take on the Dolphins. The Dolphins are favored by minus 11, another big point spread. Justin, who you got? There's no question here.
I am doing it. You know exactly what I'm doing.
You're picking an upset?
I'm picking an upset.
New York Giants win?
I'm going to take – no, I'm not. I'm taking the Miami Dolphins out. I just wanted to see you freak out if I did that.
I wasn't going to freak out because I honestly would have been like, you know what? Justin wouldn't do that, wouldn't he?
But you know what? Honestly, if there's any game to for the Giants offense to right the ship, you gotta start throwing the ball better. It's against Miami right now.
Yeah.
Like fantastic. So, but I'm gonna take Miami. I think the New York Giants defense can't stifle this offense. I think Tua's gonna have a big game.
Do you think that they cover the 11 points, or think the Giants
No,
can
no,
get in
no.
there?
I think the Giants. I think the Giants can.
That's
Cover.
what I'm interested in. Listen, the Dolphins just got their ass kicked by the Buffalo Bills. They're going to beat the New York Giants, but the one matchup I'm interested to see is the Giants offense against the Miami Dolphins defense, because I don't believe in the Dolphins defense, and the Giants offense has been pretty putrid. Saquon, I think, is going to probably be back. Andrew Thomas is going to be back, so they're going to be healthy, and it's just going to be interesting to see if the Giants offense can put some points up and yardage on this Miami Dolphins defense, because that's going to be a big eye opener for me. If they are able to keep this game close, that's another feather in my cap of being like, I don't believe in this Miami Dolphins team, because they can't stop a nosebleed. And people saying Jalen Ramsey is coming back in December, guys, he tore his ACL. What is he going to be when he comes back in December, especially in cold weather games? Jalen Ramsey's still high in talent, but he's also fallen off a little bit from what he once was, and he's coming off a torn ACL, and it's not like a year removed. It's just 6 months. He's back. Yeah. That's tough, bro. So, yeah, I got the Dolphins. Next up, we got the Cincinnati Bengals headed to the Arizona Cardinals. Cincinnati's favored by -3. I'm going to go with Cincinnati. Listen, they're more talented. They should win the game. And this is all I'm saying for Zach Taylor. Run the effing ball. Joe Mixon should get 30 carries this game. I don't care.
I got Cincinnati. I think Joe Burrow has a nice game. I think he can throw against this defense. I think Jamar Chase, stop with the damn screens. I want to see some big moves. I want to see some plays. I think Cincinnati gets the win.
Justin, it's like the thing I sent you of her name's Alicia, right?
Yeah.
The bubble screen. Jamar Chase said that. The bubble screens are working. The bubble screens are working.
No, that was hilarious, bro.
Oh, she's doing a great job. Actually, you know what? What's her name? Because I want to give her a shout out. I should remember her name. Annie Agar. Shout out Annie Agar. She is doing outstanding work. Once I saw that week 4 one, I went back and watched the weeks before that, and she has done an outstanding job. I just want to give her an absolute shout out. Keep up the great work. This is gold football content. Keep up the great work. You're doing an outstanding job. Big thumbs up. Big 2 thumbs up from Brandon here. Love the work. It's just hilarious, outstanding. And not only you got a Step Brothers reference in that week 4 recap, but you got an Office reference too. I mean, that's just outstanding. That's chef's kiss right there. Good stuff. Good stuff.
Brandon's crushing
it. Next up, we've got the where we at here? The Philadelphia Eagles are headed to Los Angeles to take on the Rams. The Eagles are favored by -4.5. Justin, who you got?
This is a tough game to pick. I was actually, when I was going through my pick, I'm like, man, Matthew Stafford has played some tough football. He's doing the best of what he has out there. This guy, little Kapuka Cup.
Did you see my fantasy football team name change?
No.
Oompa Loompa Puka Nakua.
I don't like that. Nah,
I loved it a lot. I came up with that too.
I like Kapuka Cup more. But I'm going to take Philadelphia here. It seemed like Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown found that connection that we've been waiting for all season. They went off this game. Jalen Hurts made his plays. I think Philadelphia continues to roll. They've looked vulnerable over the first 4 weeks. I think they actually break out here. I think when they're going to start solidifying what we expect them to be.
Listen, that A.J. Brown point, he almost cost them the game last week because of his stupidity of putting that ball in front. Listen, I hate the taunting rule, but I'm just saying, you put the ball and then you cost them 15 yards. The Commanders start at the 35-yard line now. That's just stupid football. But yeah, listen, the Rams have looked better. I wonder, it's interesting. Who said, who guessed that? I don't know. Is there somebody? Oh, this guy right here with the 2 thumbs right here. This guy right here called it. Everybody's like, what are you talking about? Yeah, Matthew Stafford's not washed. The arm's perfectly fine. Sean McVay is still an offensive mastermind. And love me some Puka. He's breaking records out here. But the Eagles have won, all their games, right? But they've all been very close, and they've been come close to losing multiple times this year. I think it's eventually going to catch up to them, the Philadelphia Eagles. That's going to catch up to them.
Will it catch up this week?
The one thing I'm really scared about is I think the Rams are live for an upset, Justin. I truly do. But that Eagles defensive line is still nothing to sneeze at. I mean, it's still elite, and that offensive line for the Rams is still just an unproven unit, and I'm that's what I'm worried about a little
Yep.
bit. The smart choice would be go with the Eagles, so I'm just going to go with the Philadelphia Eagles. But I do think the Rams are live for an upset there. Next up, we got the New York Jets headed to Denver to take on the Broncos. Broncos finally get their first win, Justin. They are favored by -1.5. We got.
I'm taking the Jets. I'm taking the Jets. You know what? I'm not a fan of Sean Payton and his arrogant ass. Listen, nothing will make me more happier than to watch Nathaniel Hackett and that Jets offense roll over the Denver Broncos.
I forgot about
Yeah,
that.
listen, I'm telling you, there's just something about Sean Payton that just rubs me the wrong way, and I just feel like I don't like entitled coaches. You've won one Super Bowl, you haven't shown me anything, and you won that with Drew Brees, bro. Don't sit there and think that you're the greatest thing since sliced bread, that you're able to control every single narrative. You guys are right now sitting here 0-3 and should be 0-4. I'm going to take the Jets because the Jets should have won that game against Kansas City if it wasn't for a drop snap. Zach Wilson is going to get better. It seems like having Aaron Rodgers in the house is making an impact already. So bring him out. I'm taking the Jets this week. And Brees Hall is not going to be held back anymore.
I think you're kind of subscribing to the same thing of Mr. Ryan Clark, who's also I don't think a fan of Sean Payton either. I tweeted at Ryan Clark. Hope he enjoyed his day off, by the way, because apparently I disturbed him on his day off, and he tweeted back at me.
Did he?
Yeah, he did.
I got to see that.
Yeah. No, he just said. I was just like, "Are you gonna?" Because Brian Daboll kind of snapped at the reporter like Sean Payton did. And I was like, "Are you gonna, make a comment on Brian Daboll like you did Sean Payton? Come with that same energy?" And he was like, "Nah, I'm gonna, enjoy my day off. So not today." And I was like, "Okay, enjoy your day off." But yeah, listen, I don't agree with you. I don't agree with Ryan Clark. I think Sean Payton is entitled to think what Sean Payton wants. Listen, he's a Hall of Famer. He's a Super Bowl champion. Let's not forget Drew Brees was not what Drew Brees was until Sean Payton, and him teamed up. Sean Payton there's a reason that he was very highly coveted by a lot of teams this offseason, and people wanted him. I don't think it has anything to do with him. I don't know if it even has anything to do with Russell Wilson. I just think the Denver Broncos as a team is just bad. I think this team is just not good. It doesn't work together. I definitely think Vance Joseph is not doing a good job at all, and the numbers prove it. They released Randy Gregory, which was interesting. I'm leaning towards the Broncos because it's in Denver. But like I said, their defense can make any quarterback look like they are at their best. And they're facing an elite defense. But I'm gonna go with the Broncos in a very close game. I think that they edge it out just a little bit. So give me the Broncos. Next 3 games, Justin. Last 3. The Chiefs at Minnesota, taking on the Vikings. Chiefs are favored by -4. I'm going with the Chiefs. I think that they can take advantage of that Vikings defense. I think it's going to be a shootout. Give me the Kansas City Chiefs. No, you're not.
I'm taking the upset. I'm going with Minnesota.
What?
Yeah, I actually think so. I think this is an opportunity for Kirk and Justin Jefferson and the boys just to really just air the ball out and have a good time on the offensive side. I think it is going to be a shootout. I think both teams will take advantage of each other's defenses. It's just going to come down to who's going to make the mistake. I know Patrick Mahomes waiting on that mistake is a tough one. But he also did throw two interceptions against the Jets and nearly a third as well. I'm going to take Minnesota. I think Minnesota ends up getting one at home.
Okay. And last 2 games, Sunday Night Football, the game of the week, possibly game of the year. The Dallas Cowboys are headed to San Francisco to take on the 49ers, a rematch of the divisional round playoffs the last 2 years. San Francisco is favored by -4. Justin, I think we all know where you're going.
Absolutely. You know where I'm going. I'm going to take this. San Francisco has their number. And Dak Prescott does not know what to do when he's up against Fred Warner. So you know what? Take me to San Francisco. I'm gonna take them. I'm gonna give them. Am I gonna give them the spread? Yeah, I'll give them the spread.
Give them the spread too. Okay, listen. I don't know what's going on with Debo, but if he's compromised, I think that levels the playing field out a little bit with Diggs.
Nope, it doesn't.
It does. It does. It does. It does.
It doesn't.
Listen, the way everybody talks about Dak and the Cowboys and the San Francisco 49ers games, you would think that they've got blown out. They're one-score games. They're one-score games. You know what I mean? They held the 49ers to 19 points last in the playoffs.
Mhm.
Okay, so let's just make that clear, right? With
That's
Christian
fine.
McCaffrey, with CMC.
That's fine.
But listen, obviously conventional wisdom would say take the 49ers, but I'm going to take them boys, the Cowboys. And I'm not, no. That's not the reason that I think Dak is going to play with a lot of controlled rage and anger this game. I think you kind of saw a snippet of that when the reporter asked him the question. He said, "You trying to piss me off?" He's like, "Thank you very much." They're going into this game because they know there's no expectation. Everybody expect them to get their ass whooped against the Niners. So now it's going in there, and we're just going, listen, we play them tough. It's not like they blow us out. You know, one mistake here and there, we lost the game. We could easily have won the game. I'm taking the I think the defense is still elite in Dallas. Obviously, Trevon Diggs going down. I've come down on that, but give me the Dallas Cowboys. I think that they win this game. I think it's gonna be close. It's not gonna be a blowout or anything. It's gonna be very close. It's gonna come down to the wire. But I just don't think Dak Prescott is gonna make the mistake this game. That's what I'll say. He's not gonna make the mistake this game. And finally, Monday Night Football. The Green Bay Packers are headed to Vegas to take on the Raiders Monday night. Justin, who you got? The Green Bay Packers are favored by 1 point. Uno.
Yeah, and I'm going to roll with them. I'm going to take Green Bay. I think Aaron Jones is Aaron Jones healthy? Is he even going to be in this game?
Yeah, I think. Well, he's been on a snap count reserve. I think so. Hopefully, he'll be back.
Like, because this is the kind of game that I can see him just absolutely a 3-touchdown monster game for Aaron Jones. Yeah, Vegas. I don't know what's up with Jimmy G. I don't know if Jimmy G will be out there either. Vegas just doesn't look good. I think they got to be looking to trade Devontae Adams pretty soon.
Yeah,
or he's going to force his way out of there pretty soon. So I'm going to take Green Bay.
Yeah, Raiders, Saints, and Patriots are the three teams that have yet to score over 20 points. And I think the most alarming is the Raiders because they're supposed to be an offensive unit. And they're the only team that hasn't even scored 20 points. At least the Saints and Patriots have gotten to 20. I'm going to take the Packers. I love their defense. I think their defense is very good. Their offense has some explosive talent. I love Romeo Dobbs. We're out Romeo, Justin. Jameer, the Reed kid is doing outstanding football. Christian Watson has just come back. So I'm going to take the Packers. Listen, the Vegas Raiders are offensive and bust. Offense or bust. And like I just said, they have yet to score 20 points, which is just putrid for an offensive team led by Josh McDaniels. So give me the Packers to win that game. That wraps up Week 5 Pick'em. Justin, I guess one last thing, quick thoughts from you. Obviously, Damian Lillard, the big news, is in Milwaukee now. Just give me your quick initial thoughts on the Eastern Conference. Damian Lillard as a Milwaukee Buck.
Sadness. Absolute sadness. Absolute sadness on my part. As a Knicks fan who has so much hope in his team, seeing that. It's funny. So I got a haircut. Was it yesterday? Yeah, 2 days ago. And my barber, he has this Knicks set. Everything is Knicks. Like the Clippers, all of that. All of it has Knicks stuff on it. And I just mentioned the trade to him. He was like, "Yeah, man, it's done. It's done." Like, it just feels too good to be true. Milwaukee is just ridiculously good now. Adding Damian Lillard, and then also Drew Holiday ending up in Boston as well. Just adding to that now, KP, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, now Drew. That's a fearsome front right there to start your 5. Knicks are going to have their hands full, but I think Milwaukee just really elevated their game. And if they wanted to show Giannis that they were serious about winning right now, they absolutely did it. And they had to do that. So they went out, they made the move that was necessary. Now it's just a matter, can they stay healthy? Can they work as a unit? And I absolutely think they will. So I think they catapult Milwaukee into probably, I don't know if I'm ready to call them Eastern Conference favorites because of all the things that Boston has done as well. But
yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. Are you leaning towards one, Celtics or
I think I'd still go Boston just because it's a more collective unit.
Yeah, I hear you there. And the Bucks still have a new rookie head coach in Adrian Griffin, so that's a interesting development there. But yeah, you know how I feel on that. It just sucks. I am happy for Damian Giannis in Milwaukee, though. I did say that. Like, I can at least still be happy for them because he got what he wanted. He wanted to be on a championship team, and I'm good with Miami. We're fine. We're gonna run it back. We're still a top team in there. We're still top 3 in my opinion. I think that we're probably maybe firmly 3 now with Drew Holiday on the Celtics, but I still think that we're up there. We're better than the Sixers, though, and we're better than
Hey,
you,
man.
Nick. So
You never know what emo Jimmy has in store.
you better watch out for emo Jimmy. All right, you
I
better
know.
watch
I
out.
love Jimmy, man. But yo, I think the best part before we even wrap this up, man, we're gonna get some Dame time in the playoffs.
That's gonna be frightening. That pick and roll is gonna be a frightening one to look at. I did want to make a comment on Baker Mayfield, Justin. I just wanted to comment on him for a second. Can I do that real quick?
I'll make a comment on Baker Mayfield.
Oh, you want to make a comment on Baker? Oh, let me hear this. Hold on.
I want to apologize to you.
Oh,
Yeah, I do. I really want to apologize to you. I'm sorry for being an asshole about Baker Mayfield. I mean it. I
you mean it?
absolutely mean it. I'm
Yeah.
having just as much fun as you are watching him at this point.
Is it rock hard?
I saw that video. I'm having fun watching him, and the thing is, I want to get this point across to you and let you know. I've never been against Baker Mayfield.
Mm-hmm,
I always loved the personality. I've
mm-hmm.
always been a fan of it. It's just you patronize us so much about Baker Mayfield that it has caused me to have somewhat of a dislike towards him, where I wouldn't like, just like I prove Brandon wrong, I got to see him lose, you know. But I'm done with that. I've been enjoying what I'm seeing out of Baker Mayfield. He has done first place right now in the NFC South. But not only that, he's always been a team guy. He's always been a team player, and he's going to go out there and ride for his guys. So he showed out, and I hope he continues to do it. I think it's good for football, and it's good for Baker.
Yeah, listen, I mean, I want to say that Baker Mayfield did something that Tom Brady failed to do until his third attempt in Tampa Bay, which is beat the New Orleans Saints. And dare I say, he played better in the first game than Brady did possibly his entire tenure in Tampa Bay against the Saints, because there have been some stinkers by Brady against the Saints. I remember one of those games he had I think a 9 QBR, which is on a scale of 1 to 100. Tom Brady had a 9 QBR. That's just putrid. But I just want to say this. Baker this year was rated in a lot of people's D and F lists, in their tiers of D and F. But yet you had people hyping up Daniel Jones as a top 10 guy. Brock Purdy is the next Brady. Zach Wilson can revive his career. Geno Smith is legit. No one has had Baker's back. Everybody from the media to the fans, a lot of people have been against Baker because they don't like him and they don't like his personality. And I can understand that he kind of rubs some people the wrong way, I guess. He's got that moxie, he's got that confidence about himself. But who does have Baker's back? The people that matter.
Mm-hmm.
And what I mean by that is the 52 other men in that locker room. Every single place, Justin, that Baker Mayfield has gone, that locker room loves him and follows him into battle. Baker Mayfield has things that a lot of quarterbacks do not possess. And the one major thing is leadership intangibles. Okay?
That's leadership.
Yep. You open that chest, cut him open, and see what's inside. You know what you're going to see? You're going to see a winner, and you're going to see a competitor to the highest degree. Baker Mayfield was unceremoniously kicked out of Cleveland. I will not go, into my tirade on that, but he was unceremoniously kicked out of Cleveland after winning their first playoff game in over 20 plus years. But now he is in Tampa Bay. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to win the NFC South. They're going to be in the playoffs. Baker Mayfield is going to save Todd Bowles' job. Hopefully, he is going to make the Tampa Bay Buccaneers front office realize that they need to sign Mike Evans, and hopefully he can get Mike Evans to re-sign with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And all I've got to say to wrap that up, Justin, is Baker Mayfield's success gets me rock fucking hard. Let's go, Baker! I love being right, Justin. But that is going to wrap it up for today, episode 131 of the Wise Guys podcast. I have been Brandon Capozziello. That was Justin Ray. And if you stayed this long and you like this video, please give us a thumbs up. We love it so much. We appreciate it. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. Share the content with your friends and family and on social media and whoever the hell it may be. Follow along with us on our social medias and the Wise Guys social medias. Comment along and tell us your opinions and thoughts on what we discussed today. And that'll be all to discuss. Week 5 is coming. The NBA season is in a couple of weeks. We got some big things coming for the Wise Guys podcast. But again, I sound redundant again. I've been Brandon Capozziello. That was Justin Ray. And Justin, send us off, baby.
I'll send you home with this. You know who's 5th in receiving yards this season?
Who is it?
Can you take a guess?
5th, you said?
5th, yeah.
Puka?
No, just actually before we go, just give me your top 5. Who do you think is top 5 in receiving yards?
Puka.
Okay, he's 2.
Okay. St. Brown?
No.
Keenan Allen.
Keenan Allen is number 4.
Okay. Tyreek.
Tyreek is number 3.
So I'm missing 1 and 5.
Mm-hmm. Thought you would get 1.
Justin Jefferson?
Yeah.
So number 5.
Number 5. This one's fun. I like this one.
Is he a number 1 receiver?
Oh, I guess he is in this place.
Christian Kirk?
Nope. In that division.
Tank.
No, his teammate.
Nico Collins.
Nico Collins is 5th in receiving yards with 428.
Yeah, they've been playing some outstanding football down in Houston. You know, they might have finally found that quarterback. I think they found that head coach in D'Amico Ryans. And hell, do you think that the CJ Stroud will be the best quarterback the Houston Texans have seen?
Yes.
He'll be better than Matt Schaub. All right.
Yep.
And that's all the season. Matt Schaub at his best was a Pro Bowl caliber quarterback. But that is going to wrap us up for today. Justin, I'm not going to go into it again, so send us off.
Stay classy.
Lay is gay.